Hello, moviegoers! Welcome to another episode of CritiCarter, the show where I turn you into a cinephile. Today, I saw the new film, Rock of Ages, directed by Adam Shankman, co-written by Justin Theroux, Chris D'Arienzo, and Alan Loeb, and starring Julianne Hough, Diego Boneta, Tom Cruise, Alec Baldwin, Russell Brand, Catherine Zeta-Jones, Malin Ackerman, Paul Giamatti, and Mary J. Blige. Rock of Ages tells the story of two young people who want nothing more than to hit it big as famed singers on the Hollywood stage, as well as an already famous rock and roll star and a politician running for mayor of LA whose wife is on a violent anti-rock and roll crusade because of reasons. Obviously, my first problem with this movie is the plot. It gets very convoluted trying to tell a bunch of different stories. If you limit it to just the story of the two kids, probably would have gone better. And then maybe the song choices would have worked better too, because then you wouldn't have had to try and squeeze songs in where they don't really work for various plot-related reasons that I can't go into without spoiling things. There's a lot of choreography that's a little strange, especially in the hit me with your best shot segment of the film, which again, that was one of the first weird song choices that I thought in regards to what it's about and how they use it in the film. The plot somehow managed to be both predictable and ridiculous in various segments of the film. Pretty much everybody involved with this movie is either trying too hard or not hard enough. In terms of the not trying hard enough category, acting-wise, that role goes to one Russell Brand, who apparently can't perform in films to save his life unless he's playing himself. Rock of Ages, Get Into the Greek, and Forgetting Sarah Marshall. If there's a performance that he's in where he's not playing a strung out on booze and or drugs, sex-crazed type, please let me know. I'll endorse it. Mary J. Blige, believe it or not, is in this movie. It's kind of hard to tell because despite the fact that she's really the only one known for being a professional singer, she has the smallest part out of everybody in the film required to sing. Everybody in the cast, obviously. You know, you've got your background, chorus folk, but they don't really count for the purposes of this. There are also quite a few scenes that take place around the Hollywood sign. The thing is, you can't really get to the Hollywood sign. It's been closed off for quite a long time. Yes, the movie does take place in 1987, but I'm fairly sure that it was even before that you couldn't just drive. Like, there's a scene in the movie where a character is in a taxi and the taxi drives up right behind the Hollywood sign. I don't think you've been able to do that for many decades. Forgive me, I'm going to go political for a second. We're in 2012. We should be beyond the point where a relationship between two men or a relationship between two women is any more or less inherently comical than a relationship between a man and a woman. Gay jokes, really? No movie. One of many examples where the screenwriters were just not trying. When the climax of the film finally came, it is a musical, so sometimes there's going to be a song and it kind of stops the movie instead of advancing the plot, which is how this movie ends up being over 2 hours. When the climax came around, I just found myself not caring what happened to any of these people. I was ready. I was like, okay, you know what? Oh, you gotta have this happen for the final performance? Doesn't matter to me. These characters have to get back together somehow? Hell if I care. When a film doesn't have you emotionally invested in the major players, you've really done something wrong. Tom Cruise is the saving grace of this film. The only reason why this film would be remotely worth anyone's time is because of Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise gives a Daniel Day-Lewis level performance in this movie in terms of how in-depth inside the psyche of his character that he is. It's like he's on a whole other plane from everybody else in this movie. And it's not like when, Nick Cage does it, for example, and he just goes crazy. Like there's a rank, like you got normal performances right here, and then you got Nick Cage type performances up here. Right here, you got the really good, intense kind of performance. It's hard to master, but Cruise does it here. One more thing. It's always weird when you have a jukebox musical like this, meaning that you have pre-existing songs that are put together and then you form a plot around them, versus making a plot first and then writing songs to the plot. You know, like Across the Universe, the recent Beatles musical. That's a jukebox musical. You have the discography of the Beatles, and then you use that to center the plot. This film explicitly comes out and says Journey, the band Journey, does not exist, because the song Don't Stop Believing, as far as this film is concerned, is a creation of the male protagonist of the film. Of everybody you could possibly pick, why do you have to delete Journey from the annals of history? At the end of the day, Rock of Ages gets a 2 out of 5 wannabe musicians. You can see my review of Prometheus from last week linked up over there. And next week, I will be seeing the new Steve Carell and Keira Knightley film, Seeking a Friend for the End of the World. And after that review is shot, I will post it and link it up over there. Be sure to like and favorite this video if you enjoy watching it. Subscribe to my channel if you have not yet. And please contact me on Facebook, Twitter, or Tumblr. I'm CritiCarter on all 3 of those social networks. Fade to black.